Hello, people. Welcome back to the VECO Plan virtual podcast. I am excited today for multiple reasons, mostly because Rios is with us today. I'm also very excited that our red, white, and blue won a big game last night for soccer. That was huge for the Americans, so that was crazy and awesome. But with all this American pride and joy, um, you know, Shannon, welcome. And you got any big 4th of July plans coming up here?
Oh, yeah, go Team USA. I mean, what a special Independence Day, we're gonna have with the 250th anniversary. So really excited about this one. So my birthday always falls just a few days apart from 4th of July. So we always have
Okay.
a really good time. Yeah, my birthday was this week, plus we have 4th of July on Saturday. So yeah, we're gonna have a great time. We're taking the day on Friday, gonna acquire a lot of fireworks and drive out to the country where we have family and have pool time with the kids, lots of good food, and just celebrate our beautiful independence.
Awesome. No, yeah, it's so exciting. Such a fun time of the year. Um, we've made it a huge thing, like with our kids every year. And so we are super excited. We live in a lake town here just south of Charlotte. And so they're all super excited every year. So we start out with a parade, and then there's a boat parade on the lake. And then we're typically at my buddy's house. They just had some twin baby boys. So we're not going to be there this year, but we're going to be in a swimming pool. And, it's just beautiful time of the year. Extremely hot here.
Yeah.
I'm probably sure extremely hot where you where you are too.
Oh yeah. Oh
So
yeah.
we both have that extreme heat going on, but yeah, you suffer through it, sweat through it, and enjoy it. So
Yeah. We'll
um
be in the pool up this high
yes,
probably. So
exactly. Only our heads out of the water.
yeah, yeah, it'll be
Yeah,
great.
and
It'll
covered in
be great.
sunscreen head to toe.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
but fantastic. Well, awesome. So, I'm super excited to have you on. We met at I Sigma back in early April. We kind of talked prior to that. Weren't able to connect there. It was a busy show for me, busy show for you. I know we crossed paths like multiple times, just going places, which is great. You want that in an event. You
Hmm.
hope you could connect and do things, but it was great. So I hope you had a good time. Was that your first time at I Sigma?
It was. So I've always had a lot of admiration for the NAID certification and for iSigma as an organization, but Rios has never participated in an iSigma event. So I, being fairly new to my role, I said, you know what, I think that we're going to start becoming visible with all of these other really powerful and impactful industry organizations. I think that is key. So yeah, this was the first time for me, first time for Rios to participate in the iSigma annual event, and it was just wonderful. It was a fantastic event.
Perfect. Awesome. That's great.
Yeah.
How did you get your start in, recycling and this beautiful, you talk about certification, we'll get more into that and what you guys are doing at Rios, but how did you kind of get in this recycling world, right? Like at the end of the day, we're all kind of connected to recycling and in the downstream of materials. How did you get involved in all this?
Yeah. Well, I love the question. And it's always funny when I talk to various people and ask that same question. Very rarely do people say, I intentionally went into recycling. I started, from high school and going into college to become part of the recycling industry. Most people fall into it.
Right.
They just wind up being there, or it's generational. They've
Right.
been voluntold that they're part of it. So it's usually one or the other. There's this very small margin of people that say that's always what I plan to do and where I wound up landing. So, and I fall into that first bucket. So I was originally going to school. I was going to be an educator. I wanted to be a teacher. And then while I was in college, I started working for a small recycling company in Baton Rouge. That's where I live, and specifically in the electronic space. And now, 24 years later, I'm still recycling. Yeah.
Yes.
So one of those inevitable forks in the road. You just make a decision of, am I going to keep going this path that I thought was the right thing, or am I going to go down this new path that seems to be really exciting? For me, I recognized that the organization I worked for was doing something that was very unique. It was super interesting. It was very different, and it was really impactful. Like I said, we were in the electronics recycling space. This was the early 2000s. So if you get in your time machine and go back to the early 2000s, it's all these big white towers, it's all these CRT monitors, it's all this old technology. Servers were 2 feet, 3 feet tall. It was
Yeah.
it
Took
was
over whole rooms and spaces.
That's right, absolutely. So, we were dealing with big copy machines. I mean, all of this technology, and the organization I worked for was effectively managing just, all of this stuff, and it was storing all of these devices in a warehouse. And it was contracting with all the schools throughout Louisiana who needed access to technology. So it was solving two big problems. And I recognized that these schools were doing a valuable service for these students in these rural areas. They were offering technology courses. They were doing these things for students that, especially 20 plus years ago, many of these students maybe were not on a track to go to college. So they were offering these technology skills and teaching them about computer hardware and computer software. So I sat in this reality that this is so different and so unique and so important, and I feel like I have to stay. Like
Right.
I have to stay on this path. So I did, and it just took me to where I am now, and I'm
Yeah.
so grateful. I'm so grateful to be part of this industry. So grateful for all the things I've learned, all of my amazing mentors that I have gotten to learn from along the way.
Yeah, no, that's so awesome. Yeah, I mean, I tripped into it myself, a little bit different, but still tripped into it. I was playing slow pitch softball with some buddies, and our one of our other players had started a shredding company, and he was in medical waste, and medical waste people were like, "Hey,
Wow.
you do so good at this, like, can you shred our paper? Because, so and so big name provider I won't bring
Hmm.
up isn't that great." And
Yeah.
he was like, "I'm gonna buy a shred truck," and bought a shred truck, and and then happened into, everything that they did, and I got into it, and it's just become such a great space. I have so many friends, and now as I travel the country like you do, I mean, there's rarely a city I go to now that I can't go get dinner with somebody, that I can't go, hey, let's go, watch a game, or let's go do something. And it's like I have like genuinely good friends in so many cities in the United States. Baton Rouge is one of them.
Yeah,
Great place. And now I've added another friend in you. So now I have
absolutely.
multiple people to see in Baton Rouge. But it's
Yeah.
just, and me and my wife were down there earlier this year for our anniversary, went to some LSU Tiger games, and
Oh,
baseball
fun.
games, and it's just it's just so awesome to have that ability to do that. So that's super exciting. So in that, then it's a great kind of point of like, so you're in recycling and all that. So how did Rios, like, how did that come about? How did you get into that? Where has
Mm.
that come from, and kind of this this next level, and where you've been growing your career at? How did that come about?
Well, another great question. And, I said earlier I was managing, spent some time in an electronics recycling facility. So the facility that I was working at and managing was a certified organization. So we were a nonprofit doing mission-based work, but we were also certified. Certification was very important to us. So we had R2 certification and we had RIOS certification. Um, RIOS is a powerful framework that helps to manage the organization's, outcomes for health and safety, outcomes for quality control, outcomes for environmental planning. It was always a big priority to us to make sure that we were managing those things effectively.
Right.
So yeah, so managing this organization, I was also part of the board. So I joined the board of RIOS. So I was part of their board in the nonprofit seat. And during the time that I was serving on the board, um, you know, the staff position at RIOS became open, and it wasn't at first a consideration. It was something that I was committed to finding the right person for RIOS as a board member. But over time, as we began looking for that right fit, the person who had, the board governance and nonprofit background and some of those skills, the
The pieces
recycling
started to
knowledge,
come
yeah,
together.
right, the certification knowledge. I
It's like
started writing my own job description. So it was an interesting moment for me when I kind of had that light bulb moment.
yeah,
And I was like, you know what? Maybe it is the right thing. And even though
yeah,
sometimes you try to push things away that the universe keeps putting in front of
yeah,
you because you have this sense of devotion and loyalty to what you're doing.
yeah,
Um, you just can't ignore things after so many moments. So
yeah.
anyway, so it brought me to where I am now. I was offered the role and I accepted, and it has been quite a ride. I'm coming up on my 2-year anniversary with the
Nice.
RIOS organization. Yes, it's really exciting. Gosh, RIOS has really gone through quite a revival.
Yeah,
It has really just it's gotten a new energy, and
that's
I am
awesome.
excited to be a part of that. I'm excited to make our recyclers more visible, make our
Sure.
recyclers even better. So yeah, that's how I came into my role, and
Yeah.
I'm super excited about how far we've come in just this short amount of time.
Yeah. And so, I love, just, the conversations we've had. And even just like you kind of reiterated it there again, where it's like there's this like multiple things that you guys kind of bring together. And I want you to kind of go more into it and kind of go, the history of Rios and bring me through that.
Yeah,
But, I love that piece of like, there's this like we all have this responsibility to the environment, right? Like that is something that, regardless of where you stand on anything, we want to, if you have kids, I know, like we want to leave a better place for them, right?
right.
But then within that, there's this shell of, a lot of recyclers, smaller outfits, stuff like that. Sometimes it's hard to provide these other things for employees and stuff like that. And you guys kind of bring that in with a health, perspective and safety perspective, which I think is very valuable, very important. And then like just processes, right? And downstream and certification, like all of that is kind of a part of what you guys do. So I just love that. And so bring me in our viewership kind of into the history of Rios and how that really came about and where you guys are at today, because I think it's fascinating to me.
Yeah, sure. So let's sit down and strap ourselves into our time machine. We're going to go back in time to 2005. We're going to think about what was happening 21 years ago. So back during that time, you've probably heard of ISRI, which is now known as REMA.
Right,
That is the Recycled Materials Association for the United States.
right.
You know, uh, many, hundreds, over 1,000 recyclers are part of this association.
Yep.
And it's recyclers of every commodity. It's recyclers of plastic, paper, cardboard, metal, scrap metal, ferrous and non-ferrous metals,
Right,
electronics, tires. This is recyclers of every commodity that all come to the same table here.
right,
So back during, this time period, there was a unanimous thought that there is no system that helps to manage the activities in a recycling organization. So ISO standards have existed for a long, long time. ISO standards, there are over 20,000 ISO standards.
right,
ISO standards are incredibly popular. They have a big global footprint. They're very important in manufacturing activities. They're very important for hospitals and for restaurants and hospitality. They're very important in a variety of different capacities. Certainly people who make children's toys and mop buckets and,
right.
these things are all, typical, use case for ISO standards. But there was not a single ISO standard that existed that answered the call for the activities in a recycling company.
Right.
It's just such a unique set of operations. So that is how the first idea, first seed was born for RIOS. So RIOS is the Recycling Industry Operating Standard. That is what RIOS stands for.
Right.
It is a set of management system tools designed by recyclers specifically for recyclers. And it's the only system and certification that exists for that purpose. There are no others. We're the only ones. That's right. We're the only ones. So the first iteration of RIOS was born and it was rolled out as RIOS 2006. The first facilities began to adopt the first version of RIOS, and then it became accredited through ANAB, which is a global accreditation body. So in the same way that, ISO standards and other things are accredited, RIOS has the exact same accreditation. So it is a comparably accredited standard. The first facility was certified in 2008. So that was a very key moment for RIOS, was when the first company actually made it across the finish line and got certified. So that just began the momentum. And then more facilities began coming on board and getting certified. But one of the key moments in the RIOS timeline was 2009. So in 2009, RIOS aligned in partnership with the R2 standard. So people in the electronics space all know what R2 is. R2 is the Electronics Stewardship Management Standard. And RIOS was recognized as an accepted framework for the R2 standard. So RIOS manages quality, environmental, and health and safety framework systems. And then R2 is actually managing the electronics piece specifically. Right. how you're managing the focus materials in your electronics, how you're dismantling them, how you're processing them, and where you send them. That's Correct. Kind of that piece of it. So you've got the framework, and then you've got the electronics piece on top of that. So that alignment in 2009 was a very big moment, because that began a rather large movement of electronics recyclers who came into RIOS. It was right. It was a wonderful moment. It was great to see the electronic space embracing RIOS, thanks to that partnership.
Yeah.
So following that partnership, a few years go by, more and more recyclers are joining RIOS and getting those certifications and just creating a healthier ecosystem right. of electronics recyclers and other recyclers too. So in 2016, the newest version, which is the version we're currently using, was written for RIOS 2016. Shortly after that, we came into alignment with eStewards. So eStewards is the other environmental stewardship system for people who manage electronic waste. Right. So now we have this R2 alignment and this eStewards alignment. And then what happens after that? We get more alignments. There's more industry standards that have recognized RIOS. We've come into alignment with CTIA's WISE certification for the mobile industry. Right. We have grown in popularity. We've gone
in mobile. Just for the audience, we're not talking about like mobile trucks. We're talking about, because that is what I specialize in.
Yes.
But we're talking about like cellular devices,
Correct.
Things like that. Correct.
That's right. So we're talking about the secondary cell phone tablet market.
Yeah.
That's kind of what we're talking about.
Yeah.
There are some industry certifications for people who recycle and reuse mobile devices, and right. WISE is the gold standard. WISE is like top tier. If you are pursuing, big contracts to acquire secondhand mobile devices from various sources, WISE is something that they look for. Right. So RIOS is an accepted framework for WISE, which is another extremely important partnership for us. Yeah, so we're just continuing to grow in popularity. We've got over 320 certified recyclers across North America, and beyond. We've got some in Mexico. We've got one in the Caribbean. We've got one in Asia, one in UAE. So we're growing a little bit, slowly globally. But I'm really excited because we do have a approved version of RIOS in Spanish. So that is readily available to our Spanish-speaking areas. Yeah, it's great. So that's really exciting. Exciting growth for RIOS. Yeah.
That is awesome. That is so cool. And then recently you were in Canada, I believe, and there's like a partnership body up there that's kind of similar, or I wasn't totally sure, but I felt like you guys were up there doing some stuff with them as well.
Yep, thanks. Yeah, no, that's a good mention. Yeah, so I was talking about REMA earlier. So REMA is the Recycling Association for the United States. So CARI is the Canadian Association for Recyclers. So we kind of have like these two associations, but they are very closely like related.
Right. I mean, our economies are just so tied in. It's crazy.
They are. And I mean, there's these sort of trade agreements that are really key to the success for both US and Canada. So this is important. These collaborations are extremely important for the financial success of both of our systems. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So RIOS was in Canada. So that was really exciting. Recyclers there were able to just benefit from learning about why the certification matters, why it can help them be more successful, why it can improve their outcomes. Yeah.
And I mean, obviously a place that I feel like very pro all of those things. So I think that'll be a good market for you guys as well. So that's awesome. And like me, I travel, so it's fun to see the different things and people that people are, or places people are going. And I have a big heart for Canada. There's a lot of Canadian manufacturers within the iSigma space as well. So I've spent a bit of time up there myself. Fantastic. I love all that. So that's where you guys came from, all the stuff you guys have been doing. So I would assume, just like anybody, you're always trying, and like us, now we have a podcast here at VECO Plan and doing new, fun, exciting things. What new stuff do you guys have on the horizon?
Well, we are, sort of in the short scope. We have a few really fun, in-person events that we're participating in. We're going to be at the Mobile Disrupt event, which is again for the secondary mobile industry, not mobile shred trucks.
Yeah, for WISE. Yep.
Yes. So we're going to be at the Mobile Disrupt event, which is going to be in Miami. That's next week.
Beautiful.
So the secondary mobile device market represents somewhere to the tune of 60 to 70 billion dollars.
Wow.
That is a huge amount of money that you could have a share of if you are participating in this industry.
Sure.
It's all the more reason why people who are participating in activities related to mobile devices should be doing things by the absolute best possible practices.
Sure, absolutely.
And the thing is, how do you know who to trust?
Yes.
If you are at these events or you're thinking about, participating in these various relationships, these are sight unseen relationships many times. These are organizations that are 2,000 miles away from you. You can't really drop in for a site visit at their facility. You don't really know exactly what's happening. So how do you know who to trust when you're thinking about starting these relationships and building these relationships? Certification is key. When an organization voluntarily says, please, come audit me, I'm doing everything according to all of these guidelines, they are demonstrating that they can be trusted. They are demonstrating that they are committed to keeping their workers safe. They are committed to the very top quality controls for their resold equipment. They are committed to protecting their environment, protecting their community. And they're willing to submit themselves to an audit for it, They want to be certified. Showing that they want to be certified and being certified and maintaining certification. That is key. That is how you build trust.
Yeah, and I think too, in this space and in time and age with especially the RIM side, which is more of what I represent, right? Records information management, that's been a thing for a long time, right? And, that's where mobile destruction came in with, hey, we want to make sure it's shredded on site and things like that. And NATE certification came in, obviously, a long time ago. PRISM certification with storage, which all ended up in iSigma. But I mean, it's all a standard bearer of setting yourself apart, right? And when you want to be that company that is getting into this next level, right, with the AI revolution, with all these data centers that are coming online, with all the technology that is there, setting yourself apart matters. And RIOS is, like, to me, just another common sense step if you're in some of these spaces, or even just considering. But also, I think too, just like to your point, the networking aspect of being like, hey, they're there. It's important for me to be there, right? So I think it's very, and just learn from the experts, from you, from other people that have been in and around this space for the years we've had, and to be a part. So no, I love that. So you're going to be at Mobile Disrupt.
Yeah.
Where else are you guys going to be in the next coming months?
Then we'll be at the ITAD Summit, which is a month later. That's in August, and that will be in Las Vegas. Yep, that'll be in Las Vegas. We are looking at potentially being at Scrap Expo, which I believe is in September.
Yeah, in New Orleans.
No, Scrap Expo is.
Oh, I'm thinking E-Scrap. Sorry.
E-Scrap, yeah. So E-Scrap is going to be in October in New Orleans, which is great because that's an hour away from where I live. So
yeah,
I love
that's
that.
the easy one for you to get.
Love that. Okay. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, but we're thinking about Scrap Expo if we can make that one work with our current set of plans.
Do you know where that one's going to be?
Is it in Kentucky?
I'll have to look that one up. I don't have it on my schedule of events on my newsletter, but.
So that is definitely one, and that is one that we have not done. So that would be a new one.
So that would be a new event for you guys.
That would be a new one for RIOS, but it is in perfect line as we are continuously serving and growing in the scrap metal side of things. Scrap Expo is going to be in Louisville.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And that's going to be September 9th and 10th. Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
So,
nice.
Yeah, so that's one that we are also considering. We have got an incredibly strong base of RIOS certified metals recycling facilities across the US.
Nice.
I mean, I just recently had a Q&A with one of our amazing scrap metal facilities, Mr. Adam Wilk. He's the National Director of Compliance for United Scrap. And they have 11 locations across the US. And I mean, he really went into some great detail about how the RIOS systems are helping him stay compliant, stay consistent, because how do you replicate great systems, across 11 locations? I mean, across the United States, unless you have this great system that you can replicate over and over and over again. Sure. So it has been a great tool for him, and he really talked all about how RIOS is a great solution for scrap metal. Scrap Expo is definitely on our radar, but we will absolutely be at E-Scrap, which is in October. Yeah. And I would just urge any person that's in the recycling space, whether you're just in document destruction, if you're just in paper and you're just starting to dabble in some electronics, just thinking about it. If a few start trickling in and you're not really sure how to manage them, what to do with them, I want to first of all say there's great value in electronics. If you're just taking those electronics and sending them to someone else, I mean, listen, that's great if you're sending them to a certified processor. That is a great goal. But you are also probably missing out on a significant amount of money.
Yeah, revenue opportunities.
And with the football field size data centers that are coming online and that will be going
10 miles from my house.
Yes, and that will be going through technology refreshing every 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
What's going to happen to all of that technology? Yeah. Where is it going to go? Where are all those devices going to go? So this is important for us to consider, that we don't have enough recyclers currently to manage it all. And so if you can become a solution for that, in addition to what you may already be doing, that's going to be a win-win. And
Yeah.
the best way for you to acquire that equipment is through certification. If you are trying to get those really valuable contracts, you have to be certified.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's a great show. And kind of to another question I had for you of like, you kind of answered it a little bit, is like there's a lot of levels to the e-way side. Obviously, for a lot of viewers in our audience is, the ITAD space, but or is records information getting into the ITAD space, sorry. And there's different levels, right? Like there is that just, hey, we're collectors, we're going to collect this, and then we're going to, downstream it properly to the next level. But if you have any inkling or you're barely in it and you want to know more, and we get a lot of questions about that a lot of times, me and Austin do. Yeah, I think eScrap is just really a great place to be. I also think ITAD Summit is a good it's a good like low expense one to get to, right? Vegas is just easy to get to, hotel rooms. But New Orleans as well. It's a great city, easy to get to. Both of those events are going to be fantastic. So anybody looking at these this ITAD space and trying to get into it and understand it, I do think eScrap is really you know, the one you definitely want to be at. But if you want a low cost one to get into it too, just as, hey, I'm dipping my toes in as well. I think ITAD Summit, either one, and shoot, if, go to both. I don't know.
Right.
We'll probably have representation at both as well as you guys. So
right.
yeah, it's fantastic.
True. And it's worth mentioning that, this could span any part of the chain, right? If
Right.
you're a collector, if you are, refurbishing, if you're actually doing all of the diagnostics and the testing and the wiping, if you are simply, sending them to someone else, no matter what stage, what part of the chain you're a part of, it's really important for you to be in a room with all the experts. It's really important for you to surround yourself with all the right people in one place at one time.
Agreed.
You will have access to incredible, networking and business opportunities. You will have access to all the experts, all the, the scheme, the standard managers. I'll be there with RIOS. The guy with R2 will be there. The eStewards team will be there. The iSigma team will be there. Everybody's going to be there. All the, the certification bodies will be there. Everyone will be at this event. So it's really important that if at all possible, if you are either already doing it, if you're thinking about doing it,
right,
or if you just want to do it better. If you want to be like the one, if you want to be top of class in your state, in your city, because if you ask me, if I've got devices, if I'm unloading a lot of technology and I have two choices, I have someone who is not certified and I have someone who is certified. Who do you think I'm going to choose?
Yeah. It goes back to that point of certification for sure. No, that's great. I love that. No, a lot of alignment and things we're doing. I love the connection there and just the different things, and obviously be seeing you guys at events that we're going to be at, and just connecting with a lot of people, and hopefully we're trying to bring the RIM space into this and the new age and what we're doing. So that's so awesome. That's fantastic. Any new exciting things specifically for RIOS that you guys may have going on?
Yes, so we have a few hot things cooking in the kitchen.
Beautiful.
We have got our newest version of RIOS that is currently being written. The 10-year, the 10-year standard update is happening right now. Our technical advisory team, are getting together frequently, and we are putting together the very best version of RIOS yet.
And post-COVID, that's important too, right? Like there was a lot of changes significantly with COVID, a lot of trade stuff here recently. So that's exciting. Yeah, that'll be great for you guys. That's fantastic.
Yes, it is absolutely. So, the real goal for RIOS is to adequately support recyclers as they are moving into the future, into the next 10 years. We want to make sure that they have all the resources they need to be successful, not just with RIOS, but as they pursue parallel paths.
Yep.
Whether they are in the MRF space, if they are participating in those recycling chains, if they are doing paper, plastics, film, whatever they're doing, we're going to come into alignment with, those emerging state requirements. Whether they're pursuing R2, whether they're pursuing e-stewards, pursuing WISE, pursuing NAID, whatever paths they're on, we want to be a support to them, to all those paths. So
Perfect.
we're building in all of these great tools to help them stay compliant. And then the really exciting thing is we are going to be working on a member-facing app that is going to put it's going to put all of those RIOS tools and resources at a member's fingertips. They will have access to any of their documents. They will be able to access any of their health and safety resources, any of their, quality control resources, correction tools, hazard identification tools, anything they need that's part of their RIO system, they'll be able to call it up with a couple of, taps on the screen. It's going to be
awesome.
It's going to be a great resource for our members.
That's awesome. We just did something similar with the VECO Plan training portal. We had launched that at iSigma. So for our members on trucks and, preventative maintenance and things like that, the valuable nature of that kind of stuff and what that's going to bring to your guys' end users is just, it's invaluable, right? Like it's just, that's what, in this technology driven age, this on the road, on the move all the time, just to have that boom, this stupid device right here that can just hold everything together, right? Like,
absolutely.
So that's exciting. No, that's awesome.
Well, one quick thing that I really like to drive home is that RIOS is one of the most affordable, inexpensive tools that any recycler can do. I mean, it is going to lead to so many countless financial benefits. And one final thing I'll mention is that RIOS, being a RIOS certified recycler, is also a consideration with RecycleGuard, which is an underwriting tool that's used by the Recycled Materials Association. Having RIOS designation actually leads to preferential rates in your insurance. Commercial insurance is out of control. Commercial insurance rates, auto, fleet rates, these things are out of control. Whatever you can do as a company to help offset some of that is key. If you think about it, if you get a $2,000 reduction in your annual insurance quote, that paid for your RIOS. It's interesting because
such a no-brainer.
Exactly. The first load that you send out that is not rejected, if you send out a load that you weren't using adequate quality controls,
right,
and it gets rejected, it has to get, reclassified, and then you lose $2,000 or $3,000 on that shipment. If you would have used your RIOS quality control tools, you would have saved that $2,000 or $3,000. So these are just two examples. Important. Employee turnover, there's so many ways
that cost you so much money.
Yes, that having these effective systems in place are going to save you buckets of money.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I'm so excited to just make everyone aware of it.
No, and listen, we're happy to have you on. Austin had something come up here last minute, but something we've been talking about here for like 2 months and getting you on, and I just thought, with 4th of July and everything we have going on, and really all these post 4th of July, all these events, I just thought it'd be a great place. So obviously, if you guys are interested in RIOS, I'll have information to connect with Shannon, as well as, check out these events, right? ITAD, Summit, E-Scrap, potentially a scrap conference in Louisville, mobile event, all these different events that, you'll be around or see RIOS people, Shannon or whoever part of the team is going to be there. I think it's important, and there's nothing like that in-person, time to spend with each other. And so I think that's just fantastic. I appreciate you spending some time with me today. It's something that, I've been really interested in what you guys are doing. And every time we talk, I learn a little bit more about you guys. And I just think you guys are doing such a fantastic thing. So I appreciate you coming on and sharing it with us.
Love it. Love the partnership. Thank you for the inclusion. Thank you for the invitation. I was so excited to be here. And yeah, I will see you at an event really soon.
There we go. All right, people. Well, we appreciate you guys. This is another VECO Plan podcast, and we'll see you guys soon. Thanks.
Bye.